The news of President Biden dropping out of the race leaves a lot of questions for what's next.
And this as preparations are underway for the Democratic National Convention here in Chicago next month. ABC 7 political reporter Craig Wall and political analyst Laura Washington are joining us in the studio right now. Thank you for being with us. Laura, first question for you. We heard earlier in our reporting that Vice President Harris wants to seek this nomination. What should she do to really gain the confidence of her party?
Well, I think she's already started to do that. From what I've been hearing, she's had her people reaching out to delegates, asking for their support, even before Biden dropped out. If Biden does leave, will you be with me? So she's already starting to organize that. They've turned the campaign apparatus. Biden has turned the campaign apparatus over to her, so now she has the freedom to campaign and to spend money and to get her name out there and to elevate her. And she has to, but she also has to be willing to be chosen. She has to be willing to accept an open selection process. But what that process is going to look like, we don't know just yet.
And she used the terms earn and win the nomination. That's a smart nod to the fact that just because she's currently the vice president of the United States, that she's not automatically the Democratic nominee to be president now that the president has dropped out of the race, right?
Correct, and there is some dissension in the party about whether or not she is the right choice, and there's going to be a lot of criticism of that, and the criticism is also going to be about the process. The Democratic Party is supposed to be about being democratic, so a lot of people are going to be concerned that she not be anointed and she not be crowned as the next nominee, but that there be a selection process going forward.
And the interesting dynamic here is how race plays out in all of this, right? Because the Democratic Party has been so much about elevating women and equity, and black women, Laura, as you know, are such a core element of the Democratic Party. So if they put her on the vice presidential ticket and say she's good enough for that, and all of a sudden they'd go somewhere else, I mean, it's going to make for a very interesting convention.
That's not going to happen. I don't think some of the key bases in the party, like the Congressional Black Caucus, are going to stand for that. They're going to say she's vice president, she's earned this, it's hers to lose.
And Craig, what can you tell us about whether Vice President Harris has the delegates for this?
Yeah, and that's what's, I mean, she was on the ticket, right? So the delegates had voted for Biden-Harris. So she was already sort of on that side of things. But as Laura was saying, they're going to have to go into this delegation sort of figure out. But I would presume that behind the scenes, all that is, they're going to try to work this out before this virtual convention they have on August 1st, because they don't want to go into the convention and have an open convention and people fighting on the floor and doing that. Would be such a mess that I think they'll have it worked out by this virtual convention. Would you agree, Laura?
Yeah, I agree, but I think she's also going to want to really show her mettle and show that she's ready for this, because if she comes out of this strong, if she comes into the nomination strong, that will make her a stronger nominee and candidate going into the fall. So she's going to campaign like she's the presidential candidate right now.
And then there's the final, I shouldn't say the final, but another important question is finance related, is money related. Is she entitled to, the campaign with the former president or the current president? Is she entitled to that campaign money, and how will that work moving forward as she tries to potentially raise money?
My understanding is she is entitled to that money because she was on that ticket, and no one else, if someone else were to step forward, they would not be able to take advantage of that money directly. And that's a very big advantage and a big talking point for her candidacy.
And then the DNC has already made moves to file an amendment so that all that money could just be transferred over into those new funds that have been set up for Harris as the ticket holder, if you will. So the money problem is probably not going to be an issue. Now the question is, those donors who are sitting on the sidelines with Biden's future so uncertain, now are they going to be jumping back in? I mean, that's going to be key. It's going to be a good indication of perhaps where this convention is going.
Real quick, Craig, your thoughts on who a potential vice president candidate would be?
I've heard talk about several different governors, Andy Beshear, Cooper down in North Carolina, and that was one of the top names I was hearing, simply because that's a swing state that has gone both ways. So it's a real good option for them to look at something like that. Probably going to be one of the governor's things. I don't know if Pritzker is really going to be in that mix or not. I haven't heard his name talked about, but we'll have to see. We know he's got those ambitions. So.
Yeah, the question for Pritzker, does he want to do it now or later? He could wait till 28, and maybe he doesn't want to be part of a ticket that he's afraid he will be a part of a losing ticket.
Right. This is timing that not a lot of governors maybe suspected, right? This to potentially be on the ticket when they otherwise didn't think they might be.
But I bet you if you get asked, you're going to say yes.
Ambitions, for sure. Yeah. All right.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC 7 Chicago Eyewitness News.